What is going on YouTube? This is Aciders Wires. This will be part 17 of the Devil May Cry playthrough. So in this particular episode we get to mission 11. And so I noticed about this particular game, just to be able to say, I want to say there's like 19 official missions in this particular game. So we're actually further along than I realized, which is a dope enough concept. So if I had to guess, if I'm getting most of these missions done about 2 episodes at a time, unless I don't know what to do and I have to look up like a walkthrough or something, I'd probably say there's probably going to be at least another 9, 10, 11, 12 more episodes, and probably more than that, probably more like 15, 16, something to that relative type here. It's probably about to be like the same length as like Guitar Hero, the original one kind of was, just within the pitch behind it. But I look after it, the thing about this particular game is there are some bonus missions in here, and I don't know if like you only unlock them through like hard mode or something like that, but I just would have to say, if like opportunity arises and I see the aspects behind some of these, I might go back and get some of these bonus missions. But for the most part, if it has to be played on like a difficulty setting, or if it's going to be something that's going to vastly piss me off, I may not do it. But I am at least going to beat this game. I want to say, I realized in the second game that there's like a female character that you're able to play as, and that's kind of the concept. I don't know if you have to unlock her within that particular sequence, but the main goal is, and I was not expecting this, just to be able to say, I mean, I look after it, you know, we might get this game beaten within the next several months here, just within the tone, because I am going to play through some more game this month. I mean, this episode is like, you know, the gameplay segment for me beating this mission is going to be in the next episode when that surfaces, but then I just would have to say, just as far as that particularly kind of goes, you know, I just kind of look after it that there's a handful more missions left, but this makes me question some of these boss characters. I mean, I realize that I need to use the devil trigger more, and that's kind of the thing. I realize that I probably could have knocked out this character. He kind of defeats me here, but just being able to say I need to kind of do like the devil trigger and some of those type of pitches, just being able to say it's kind of within the tone behind it, but because I do wind up flattening the boss rather easily in the next episode, so this is kind of the pitch. But yeah, I just would have to suppose the problem with it is I'm forgetting how to play these games, because I have like 4 different games I'm playing, and they have like things. It's the same thing with Rise to Honor. I forget how to use adrenaline in that game. Between me checking in with these games a couple times a month, some of that type fare, and then having to remember the controls, so it's just kind of the pitch behind it. Just so in this game, Rise to Honor and Van Helsing, this is kind of the tone within it, just forgetting how to play some of these types of games. But I would look after it. I mean, yeah, this has been a thrill of a game here. It's exciting to say that we're kind of not necessarily in the twilight phase of the game, but just kind of saying that we're getting to like the meat of the game, where it's like, yeah, this is some wicked stuff here. It goes great for this time of year. I just would have to say, I just look after the tone behind it. Like, I would say, I mean, as I do this, it's early November, but just being able to say, I'd say, you know, first week of November, it's not like as if you have to take down your Halloween decorations. I realize that there are some spooky children, and by that I mean like when you think of Marilyn Manson and spooky children, people who are alternative based and things like that, that are just Halloween's like their whole shebang. You know, just being able to say, I don't think these folks are taking down their Halloween decorations like November 2nd, November 3rd. This is kind of the pitch. Yeah, just really lovely stuff here. Just looking at like the clouds and like the background setting here, it just feels very hellish and just kind of ghastly, just with the tone behind it. Really like the atmosphere. But I mean, when I had talked with Jackal Goldkick in the past, he had said that in some cases, like Devil May Cry 2 doesn't have it. I mean, I would have to guess. I think it might. I mean, just within the tone, me questioning how haunting Devil May Cry 2 is actually going to be. It may just be more commercialized, just within the sense that this is a pretty popular game. I think they didn't know that this one was going to be popular in this one, and they just tried to commercialize it in the second one. But I just would have to question. I'm really hoping that Devil May Cry 2 winds up being a wicked game. So I have to say, I'm not gonna have super high standards and say like I just want this game. I don't know. I want it. I just think like the reception about Devil May Cry 2 is kind of like it's either like it's too easy or something like that. Some of those type of errors, it's not as interesting. Like it just didn't pull off the design and things like that. Some of those complaints about it, but I look after it. Yeah, I just would have to say. hopefully they don't screw up with Dante. I just would have to say this within the concept of just being able to talk about, because he was pretty wicked, even though he doesn't talk that much in this game. Just would have to say, I mean, it's just the aspect, he's just a badass by the stuff he does in this game, more so than like the combos that you get at this particular stage. But supposedly there's going to be more of that. But you know, we're 11 missions in and he just hasn't really talked whatsoever, not even to the bosses that have to say this kind of thing. But yeah, so but he is a badass. I mean, just look at him right here, you know, just within the pitch. He seems like he'd be a smoker. You know, he probably smokes backwoods, something like that. I mean, I recognize that this game is, you know, I mean, even M-rated video games, despite the fact that you have to be an adult to play this game, I still kind of feel like, I don't know if Dante would be getting, I mean, he might drink beer or something like that, but I don't know if he'd, you know, smoke stogies and pitches like that, something like that, but I think he should. That'd be a good concept if there was like a Devil May Cry manga or something and he got stoned, something like that. Would be a pretty good pitch, but it just would seem to be the tone. He needs a crew. I really feel like this is weird that Dante, I mean, I want to say that it seemed like from what they said about him that he was kind of like the concept just behind saying that he was kind of like an offhanded, like he's like the son of somebody. I don't know if that's his full bound. I mean, I feel like his background is kind of like a product of this as far as those pitches kind of happen, is looking after it. He's different, but I don't know if I'm just like, I don't know what the, I want to say I might have read something about him, but it just is kind of within the tone of like, I do think he could use like a posse or a crew, like a motley crew of folks, something like that. I mean, I've said this in countless episodes here as far as that pitch kind of goes, but I just look after it, just makes me question where he stems from, where his hometown is, and some of those types of things, you know, how, I mean, these are interesting type of, it'd be great for like a manga or something like that, or even like a Netflix type thing, something like that. I mean, I know that this game came out in 2001, but it'd be a good pitch. They did it with Castlevania. There was a Netflix special with Castlevania. It'd be a good pitch to have this sort of thing kind of happen to, if they didn't screw it up at least. And that's kind of the concept. Some of those extracurricular things can kind of be make or break when they don't nail it. But, you know, I think with the right writers, if they took them, like the folks who did this particular game can't be too much older than they were in 2001, 2003, so I'd have to suppose they probably could do it, especially with like the Ghastly type feel. This would be a good franchise to kind of get, even a movie. You know, they're doing all those movies now. They're doing Borderlands, they're doing Five Nights at Freddy's, they're doing all these different types of games. They're probably going to do like a Fortnite movie at some stage, I'd have to guess. You know, you heard it here first if they do wind up doing that soon. But just being able to say, I just look after, they're just going ape shit with some of these types of ones that they're getting towards kind of doing. I just look after, I think Devil May Cry would be a brilliant one. There'd be some ones. I want to say that they did a Silent Hill movie, and if they didn't, they were working on one. I think it might have gotten scrapped or something. Yeah, the Resident Evil movies were really good. Just would have to say some of those types of tones, but there's a bunch of PlayStation 2 games that could probably work with some of that. Just would have to say, but yeah, I was kind of confused about what to do at this particular stage, and apparently you don't even need to do that. Well, yeah, it's like something specific that kind of has to go along here, but I'm just kind of trying to figure out as far as the rest of this kind of fair kind of goes. But yeah, it's just a good pitch, just like the ghastliness of this particular game here as far as that kind of goes. Just trying to think what else. Yeah, I've had some mixtape type stuff kind of going along. Unfortunately, the Internet Archive is still down on some of those type pitches. I mean, I think I said this probably in Van Helsing or Rise Dawn or one of those type ones. It's just kind of in read-only type formats. I just had to say there's a lot of very interesting mixtapes that I can't get to. Like I was going to review a Dennis mixtape, had plans to do it. Now I have to find it. The thing about Dennis is he's large enough. I want to say he gets like 100, 200,000 monthly listens on Spotify, some of those type of pitches, but I still look after just being able to say I wanted to get to some of his mixtapes because he has a ton of those, but now I can't get them because they're not anywhere for the most part. I mean, the Internet Archive was one of the few places where they had those. It's just some of those type of favorites. It just kind of screws you over in a lot of senses just being able to say it because I need some of these. But yeah, I just have to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to review a different mixtape than the one I had planned, which I was going to review maybe like a 2014 mixtape by Dennis. But yeah, I've just got a bunch of these just within the tone, selection, the selection season, all this stuff going on. It's just been a very vast month. There's just a bunch of like personal life type stuff that's just being required right now. It's a real pain in the ass that I don't really want to take care of, but this is kind of the concept of juggling. This is the product of November, I'd have to say. But yeah, there's more to this game on the way. We'll beat this mission in the next episode, so subscribe for more fun. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night here.